great question, and that's a question that can I give an absolute answer? Absolutely not. I don't think really any of us could accurately say what it's going to look like for sure. However, I think within us all, including myself, we do have a feeling of what things would be like if they were a little more. I don't like the word saying natural because we don't really have a natural state, but something that resembles something a lot more natural to what we're doing now. What we're doing now is very separated. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of greed. There's a lot of ego involved. There's a lot of, I guess, just not seeing each other as one of ourselves. And when you automatically just take those perceptions away, when you take away all of that, because they're all ego programs, when you take those all away, you can imagine the type of world that will play out. And I know it seems challenging at this time to say that that will ever become the way it is, but I can tell you for sure, I've seen it start to unfold with a lot of people in the journeys that we've gone on and the stuff that we've seen. It is 100% possible. It's just a matter of allowing the time for it to play out and allowing the consciousness to shift. But you can imagine, based on those things shifting, what the world can look like. You're going to have a lot more cooperation. You're going to have things like education, which is geared towards not just confining the child, but saying to the child, all right, this is what we know up to this point. How can we expand? How can we take things further? How can we use creativity to continue to move forward? At the same time, all ages can come to a center or something that teaches education. It doesn't matter. It doesn't just mean a child has to do it. It could be anybody coming to learn, coming to expand, not just expand for themselves or their business or their own personal thing, but for all of humanity, right? Another thing really is when you look at something like the economy or all that sort of stuff, do we really need these pieces of paper to trade back and forth? Do we really need one good or another good to trade back and forth to say, hey, this is worth this? Like right here, I have a calculator, and right here I have whatever this thing is. It's like an ornament. If somebody has this and somebody has this, how do you put value to either of them? How do you say, well, this one's worth more than this one? Really, in the end, the value is irrelevant. It comes down to people are going to feel and be guided to what they need to do. There are always going to be things like food or all that sort of stuff that becomes available to people. And it's not like we need to be paid or we need to barter or we need to trade and all that sort of stuff, because that's all just the separation anyway. That's seeing each other as, there has to be sacrifices, there has to be work to get something, all that sort of stuff. Because really all those things are belief systems, and all of those things come from the way the system is now. When you really examine the system now and you examine the amount of people we have, the only reason why everybody has to work is because the fact that everybody needs money to survive. And at the same time, when you look at the industries, everything is usually a make-work project. It's something just so that people can have money, so that they can continue going, so that they can continue, feeding the system and making the system go round. If you really look at it, you could take away insane amounts of industries, insane amounts of repeats of the same product over and over and over again, and start saying we really only need about maybe 10, 15, 20% of what we are building today is actually necessity. So now all of a sudden you have 80 to 90% of people right now who are in the workforce all of a sudden now aren't working. So what does that mean? That means you look at the necessities, you look at the huge excess of people, and there's a lot of stuff that, all right, we can just share. I spend a little bit of time doing this, so this other person spends a little bit of time. So it's not like if we have to work, we have to do it our whole lives. We have to build a career around it. We have to go every day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It's something that we do here and there. Instead of, all right, well, the belief is if we don't have this economy, if we don't have work, everybody's going to sit around and do nothing and just, play video games all day, watch movies, watch TV, watch all that stuff. My question to that is, feel within you. Does your life, does your beingness, your expansiveness that is within you, it state that I would want to just sit around and do nothing every day and just watch TV? I know there are some people where that reality is playing out for a period of time. However, does that actually feel like something you would do for the rest of your life? Or would you feel a lot more inclined to get involved with creating things, to get involved with, being a part of something that is expanding everything, that is expanding your growth, that is something you're passionate about, where you don't need money to do your passion. You don't need resources or your passion because it's just there. It's just made available and you're able to go about doing that. That world is completely possible. It just requires the removal of certain belief systems that aren't natural to begin with. They're learned behaviors, and they're behaviors that we could easily begin to move out of and dissolve, because if we're not being force fed with it every single day, it would naturally dissolve anyway, because it's not part of what we're naturally wired to live by.